A tallgrass prairie is a large area that's characterized by having lots of grasses, many wildflowers, and treeless.
Characteristics of the tallgrass prairie primarily revolve around what species are there. People very often drive down the road and they see grass and they immediately assume that it's healthy and it's okay, it's a prairie. It's really not, because what happens is you bring in exotic grasses, you plant them, and you form pasture land. And the cattle will graze on it, but is not the same as dealing with native prairie grasses.
Turkeyfoot Prairie is located west of Warrensburg, Missouri. We have some undergraduate students that are going to be conducting research there. We took preliminary data before the burn, and then we're going to collect data at the same time of the year, but after the burn. That way we can determine what kind of changes take place in the plant community.
If you're looking at the mammals, there are a lot of mammals that live down in that leaf litter, in that plant litter section, but also under the surface of the soil in the prairies.
The last 2 years I've come out here, and while I've been waiting for the woodcocks, I've seen a red fox. One time it got within about 15 feet of me before it realized I was there, so that's kind of exciting.
As far as birds, there are a number of grassland specialists. In Missouri here, we have things like the greater prairie chicken, short-eared owl in small numbers, species like the Henslow sparrow, eastern meadowlark. We have loggerhead shrikes that use woodland areas that are bounded by prairie environments. A lot of diversity, a lot of richness, whether it be birds, whether it be insects, etc.
Prescribed burning is an essential part of the tallgrass prairie. And one of the things that occurs without prescribed burning is that the plants will actually be overrun by the trees.
If you don't have 60 million buffalo all munching away and all the other organisms that fed upon prairie, and you don't have fires, what tends to happen is invasion by woody plants, shrubs and trees. And that's of course what we see. If you look at the landscape of Missouri today, many areas that were former prairie have become woodlots, have become woody.
See, what happens after a prescribed burn is that you clear the surface of the ground.
One of the important things about prairies is you tend to build up a litter level or a litter layer towards the ground from dying grass in the previous year.
Of course, the plants require carbon, they require nitrogen and many other substances as well. And one way to cycle them through is through burning.
Turkeyfoot Prairie was burned just this past fall in November, so that was 2012. The people that were involved in the burn included the Citizens for Environmental Action. We also had students from the Wildlife Society, the student chapter for University of Central Missouri. They came out and also assisted with the burn.
A lot of the prairie plant species, they depend upon periodic burns for their seeds to germinate. Some plants just won't germinate without fire.
The process of germination is actually the breaking down of the outer portion of the seed so that the seed can take up water and the plant can grow.
A second benefit of the fire in that regard is the returning of the nutrients to the soil. When you burn off the plant material, those nutrients become available to new plants.
Plant matter is burned off, and what's left is ash, and included in that ash will be nitrogen that will provide a spurt of growth.
Depending on when you burn, and the thing that's really cool about native prairie grasses is that burning them really doesn't cause a problem because the roots are still there, and the roots are going to send up new shoots, and those new shoots will grow very rapidly and very effectively.
If the prairie fire is not too hot, in other words, there's not a lot of fuel to it, it'll burn off the surface of the grasses, but the grasses, of course, can regenerate. If it gets too hot, then it can actually kill the grasses and kill the rootstocks. So that's a possibility in some prairie fires.
During the early part of the 1900s, we were able to export food, grains, to other countries. But in that process, they have used up all the tallgrass prairies. So there's so few of them left.
Missouri Department of Conservation has estimated that at one time there was approximately 18,000 square miles of prairie. And since that time, because of turning prairie into farms, turning prairie into roads and parking lots and cities and all of that, the natural prairie left in Missouri, they estimated it at about 121 square miles. That's more than 99% of the prairie is already gone.
You know, if you've got kids, you probably want to get them out into the tallgrass prairie biome now before it's all gone. Because this, you know, as the climate warms, things are going to change even more.
The tallgrass prairie is what has made our country so great, because the plants, specifically the tall grasses, they put as much nutrients below ground than they do above ground. And by doing that over hundreds and thousands of years, they made the soil very rich. And that's very important with respect to species diversity.